Why do older women wake between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m.? Here's what your body may be telling you. Have you ever found yourself wide awake in the stillness of the night, glancing at the clock glowing 3:17 a.m., wondering why sleep has slipped away yet again? Perhaps you're lying there, heart gently pounding, eyes open to the ceiling, your thoughts beginning to swirl. You calculate the time left before morning. If I fall asleep now, I can still get 3 hours, maybe 2.5, only to find your body growing more alert with each minute that passes. If this experience sounds familiar, you are not alone. In fact, for many older women, waking during the early morning hours between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. is far more common than you might think. At first glance, this might seem like nothing more than an inconvenient disruption. But what if your body is trying to communicate something important, something about your physical health, your emotional balance, or even the subtle shifts of aging that we often dismiss as ordinary? This recurring early waking pattern could be a signal worth listening to. Rather than treating it as a mere nuisance, it may be time to see this window of wakefulness as an opportunity, an invitation to pause, to reflect, and to gently reset. In this guide, we'll explore 5 research-backed, compassionate strategies that transform those restless hours into moments of self-care, insight, and calm. You'll learn not only how to respond to your body's signals, but how to work with them intelligently, patiently, and without fear. We'll discuss how to regulate your nervous system, how to hydrate wisely, how to explore the emotional roots of early waking, how to reset your body through movement, and how to guide your mind back to peace with the power of sound. Each section is designed with care and clarity, informed by science, mindful traditions, and the lived experiences of women just like you. Whether you're seeking more restful sleep, emotional clarity, or simply a better way to meet the night with grace, you'll find practical steps here that can make a meaningful difference. So the next time you wake before the sun, remember this: your body isn't betraying you, it may be speaking. And with a few thoughtful practices, you just might turn those sleepless hours into some of the most peaceful moments of your day. Waking between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. can feel like an intrusion into the sanctuary of rest, especially when it happens frequently, as you glance at the clock and realize that the night is still young. A quiet tension often begins to build. Thoughts stir. You may wonder, why now? Or what's wrong with me? The mind races, and with every passing minute, sleep feels more distant. But here is where the transformation begins, by understanding that the struggle to sleep is often more harmful than the waking itself. It's a natural reaction to want to force sleep. We may lie motionless, eyes tightly shut, hoping that sheer willpower will bring it back. However, the truth is, trying to force sleep is like attempting to catch a feather in the wind. The more you chase it, the further it drifts. This paradox has a very real biological explanation. When we experience frustration, stress hormones like cortisol begin to rise in the blood. Cortisol is not a sleep hormone, it's a wake-up hormone. It prepares the body for action, not rest. In the early morning hours, when the body is most vulnerable to hormonal fluctuations, this added cortisol surge can lock us into a heightened state of alertness. What's more, the nervous system begins to shift from its rest and digest mode into fight or flight. Muscles tense, the heart rate increases, and your thoughts begin to loop. This cycle is especially common among older adults because changes in sleep architecture and hormonal regulation make the body more sensitive to disruption. For women in particular, these changes can be intensified by shifting estrogen levels, leading to lighter sleep and a greater tendency to wake. The key to breaking this cycle is to stop resisting the wakefulness and start working with it. Begin with something simple. Change your position. Instead of lying flat in frustration, slowly sit up in bed. There's no need for a dramatic shift. Just leaning against your pillow or headboard is enough to subtly tell your brain that you're not stuck or helpless. Next, place your focus on your breath. Inhale deeply through your nose for a count of 4. Hold for a moment. Then exhale slowly through your mouth for a count of 6. Repeat this gentle rhythm for several rounds. This kind of breathing is not just relaxing, it sends a direct message to your nervous system that it's safe to settle. If you find that your thoughts are still spinning, gently turn your attention to your environment. Is the room too warm or too cold? Is your pillow flat or lumpy? Are the bed sheets wrapped around you like a net? These subtle discomforts are surprisingly common culprits in nighttime wakefulness. The ideal bedroom temperature for sleep, according to sleep researchers, falls between 60 and 67 degrees Fahrenheit. If your environment isn't supporting rest, make small adjustments. Untangle your sheets, fluff your pillow, adjust your blanket. These simple physical actions can create a sense of control and comfort. And while you're making these changes, notice how your body responds. A small sip of room temperature water may soothe a dry throat. Stretching your arms gently above your head or softly rolling your neck from side to side might help release tension you didn't realize you were holding. This moment, however unexpected, is an invitation. It is a chance to check in, not check out. You may find it helpful to keep a notebook beside your bed, not for journaling in the traditional sense, but for unloading thoughts that keep returning. These are not meant to be masterpieces, just a few lines to quiet the inner voice. You might write down a task you don't want to forget, a worry that's weighing on you, or even a grocery item you remembered at 4 a.m. The purpose is not to solve everything, but to set it down, even temporarily. Some of the greatest minds in history have spoken of these pre-dawn hours as being uniquely fertile for thought and inspiration. Leonardo da Vinci and Nikola Tesla reportedly worked in short bursts of sleep throughout the day and night, believing the quiet of early morning brought fresh insight. While most of us are not looking to invent the next breakthrough, we can still honor this time as something more than a disruption. In the stillness, creativity may stir and clarity may rise. If writing feels unnatural to you, try a visualization. Picture a quiet beach at sunrise or the gentle swaying of trees in a forest. Let your senses become absorbed in the imagined scene. Soft sounds like distant waves or bird song can help the mind let go of looping thoughts. This is not about escaping reality, but about calming the mental noise that often keeps sleep at bay. If you feel a need to move, honor that too. Step out of bed quietly. Stretch your body in small, comforting ways. Let your movements be slow and grounded. Movement is not the enemy of sleep. In many cases, it is the path back to it. The heart of this strategy is acceptance. Accept that you are awake without judgment. Accept that your body is asking for attention, not punishment. And then, with that spirit of calm observation, offer it what it needs: comfort, breath, light movement, or quiet thought. You are not broken. Your body is not failing you. Sometimes it is simply asking you to listen, to pause, and to care. Imagine waking in the middle of the night, your mouth dry, your body feeling stiff or slightly overheated, and a sense of restlessness humming beneath your skin. You might lie there puzzled, wondering why everything feels just a little off. You didn't have caffeine late in the day, you weren't overly stressed, and the room is cool enough, so what gives? What many people don't realize is that one of the most overlooked reasons for disrupted sleep, especially in older adults, is subtle dehydration. Throughout the night, as we breathe, our bodies lose moisture. Even without sweating heavily, water vapor exits the lungs, moisture seeps through the skin, and essential minerals, electrolytes like sodium, potassium, and magnesium, slowly diminish. For older adults, this process can have an even greater effect, as our sense of thirst tends to diminish with age, while our body's sensitivity to dehydration quietly increases. Dehydration doesn't always show up as a clear signal. It can manifest as muscle twitching in the legs, dry eyes, a faint headache, or even that odd, wired but tired feeling where your body resists sleep despite exhaustion. These symptoms can be especially pronounced during the early morning hours, when your internal systems are already in a delicate hormonal and neurological balance. The instinctive reaction might be to stumble into the kitchen and gulp down a full glass of cold water, but while this might seem like a good solution, it can actually startle the body, disrupting the slow return to rest that we're trying to cultivate. Drinking ice-cold water in the middle of the night can cause your digestive muscles to contract sharply, increasing alertness instead of decreasing it. Your body responds to cold by activating internal processes that heat and protect your core, and this includes raising your metabolic rate, which is the opposite of what you want at 3:47 a.m. Instead, keep a small bottle or glass of room temperature water next to your bed. Not only is this gentler on the stomach, but it also matches your body's natural resting temperature, allowing you to rehydrate without waking your system unnecessarily. If you feel overheated, a few slow sips may be enough to restore a sense of balance without triggering a full metabolic wake-up call. Now, here's an even better option. Support your hydration with a mineral boost. During sleep, your body doesn't just lose water, it also loses the tiny chemical messengers that keep your muscles relaxed and your nervous system steady. Adding a small pinch of sea salt, such as Himalayan pink salt or Celtic sea salt, to your nighttime water can help. Don't overdo it. Just a few grains are enough to support fluid balance and prevent nighttime cramps or restlessness. If the idea of salt isn't appealing, try a splash of lemon juice. It offers a gentle dose of potassium and supports digestion, which often slows during the night. For those who tend to wake frequently, another gentle option is chamomile tea, but with a twist. Prepare it before bed, let it steep lightly, and pour it into a thermos or insulated cup to keep beside your bed. Chamomile contains apigenin, a plant compound that binds to certain receptors in your brain, promoting relaxation and reducing anxiety. Its warmth soothes the throat, and its subtle floral notes offer a calming sensory experience. More importantly, unlike caffeinated teas or sugary drinks, it hydrates without overstimulating the bladder, making it less likely that you'll wake again soon after. Consider this part of a broader nighttime hydration ritual, simple, calming, and supportive. Remember, even mild dehydration can interfere with your body's thermal regulation or ability to manage internal temperature. This explains why, despite a cool room, you might still feel overheated. When your fluid balance is off, your blood vessels constrict, circulation falters, and your heart works a bit harder to maintain equilibrium. This can pull you out of the deeper stages of sleep, causing you to wake just as the body is trying to shift into its most restorative rhythms. By making hydration a gentle, intentional practice, not a rushed reaction, you offer your body exactly what it needs to recover. You're not simply quenching thirst. You're helping your entire system return to a state of balance. And there's a deeper reason why this matters. As we age, the kidneys become slightly less efficient at conserving fluids, and our body's total water content gradually decreases. This means that older adults must be more intentional about staying hydrated, not just during the day, but overnight as well. A thoughtful sip of mineral-rich water, a warm cup of tea, or even a few deep breaths before drinking can become a small act of restoration in the quiet hours before dawn. In essence, hydration is more than water. It's about how your body maintains its rhythm, how it processes the changes of age, and how it signals what it needs in the absence of words. So the next time you wake with that parched, unsettled feeling, don't rush, don't gulp. Instead, take a few moments to hydrate wisely. Let it be part of your journey back to comfort and eventually to sleep. There is something uniquely vulnerable about waking between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. The house is quiet. The world outside is still. Yet within you, something stirs. An unease, a heaviness in the chest, or a slow rolling wave of thought that refuses to rest. Perhaps you find yourself replaying a conversation from days ago, or dreading something that lies ahead. You may not even know what's bothering you, only that your heart feels unsettled, and sleep has quietly slipped away. For older women especially, this quiet discomfort may not just be coincidence. According to traditional Chinese medicine, each organ in the body is most active during a particular 2-hour window. Between 3 and 5 a.m., it is the lungs that take center stage. In Chinese medicine, the lungs are associated not only with breath, but with grief, sadness, and emotional processing. If you've ever felt a tight chest or a wave of melancholy at this hour, the connection may be more than symbolic. While modern Western medicine does not assign emotional functions to organs in the same way, science does affirm a strong relationship between emotions and early morning awakenings. Studies show that stress and anxiety often cause disrupted sleep patterns, particularly during the second half of the night, when the brain enters lighter stages of sleep. This means that even low-level emotional unrest, left unprocessed during the day, may rise to the surface as the night wears on. Think of the mind like a closet. During the day, you might shove small worries and lingering sadness to the back in the name of staying productive or strong. But at night, when the world is still and distractions fall away, the door creaks open. The emotions you neatly folded away begin to spill out, sometimes gently, sometimes urgently, asking to be acknowledged. When this happens, the worst thing you can do is judge yourself for it. Emotional wakefulness is not a failure of willpower. It is a quiet request from within, a reminder that your inner world needs tending, just like your body does. Start simply. If you wake and feel uneasy, sit up slowly. You don't need to search for a specific reason. Instead, just ask yourself softly and without pressure, what am I feeling? Don't overanalyze. Let whatever comes to mind arrive as it is, without filtering or correcting. You might notice a word, an image, a memory. You may feel anger or regret or loneliness. You may feel nothing but fog. That's okay too. This is a moment for emotional honesty, not perfection. Reach for the notebook you've now placed beside your bed, not to write a polished journal entry, but simply to unload the clutter. Write down 3 thoughts. They don't have to be deep or poetic, they just need to be real. For example, I'm still upset with my sister, or I don't want to go to that appointment. Or even, I feel tired and anxious and I don't know why. These quick, truthful lines act like a pressure release valve. They let the emotional steam rise and exit rather than swirl endlessly in your mind. Psychologists call this practice externalization, putting your thoughts outside your head so your brain doesn't feel the burden of holding them all at once. It's been shown to reduce anxiety and improve sleep quality, even when done for just a few minutes. A well-known study from the University of Rochester found that writing about emotional experiences for as little as 15 minutes a day improved both mood and rest. The act of writing helps shift the nervous system from high alert to low gear, from fight or flight into rest and digest. To deepen this effect, return to your breath. Inhale slowly through the nose for 4 seconds, hold briefly, then exhale gently through the mouth for 6 seconds. On each exhale, you might try a soft mental cue, something like, "I release this for now," or "It's okay to rest." This isn't about erasing the emotion. It's about placing a bookmark in the story so you can come back to it with fresh eyes and a clear mind. You're not abandoning the feeling. You're simply saying, "Not now, later when the sun is up." For some, the emotions that surface at 4 a.m. are tied to unresolved grief, the passing of a loved one, the quiet ache of loneliness, or the loss of a season of life can all linger beneath the surface, waiting for a still moment to be felt. These feelings deserve space, but not punishment. Letting them rise and pass through you is not weakness. It's part of healing. It is, in many ways, a kind of quiet strength. If writing doesn't appeal to you, consider this alternative: gentle acknowledgement. Place your hand over your heart, feel its rhythm, then speak to yourself as you would to a dear friend. Calm, kind, and without hurry. Say, "I hear you." That's all. That one simple statement can ground you more than pages of analysis. You may be surprised to find that once the feeling is recognized, named, heard, and gently released, your body begins to settle, the breath slows, the mind grows quiet, and sleep may return not through force, but through permission. In this way, your 3 a.m. wake-up becomes less of a curse and more of a call, a moment in which your body and spirit whisper softly, "Let me show you what I need." And when you listen, with patience and without judgment, you offer yourself the kind of rest that goes far deeper than sleep alone. When sleep slips away in the early hours and your body begins to feel restless, it's easy to believe that stillness is the answer. You might lie there, rigid beneath the covers, hoping that by staying perfectly still, your body will somehow drift back into slumber. But instead, you toss, you turn, your legs twitch, your neck begins to ache, and the sheets feel more like restraints than comfort. This is not your imagination. It is your body's subtle way of saying, "I need to reset." As we age, our muscles and joints often become stiffer, circulation can slow during long periods of inactivity, and certain positions in bed may create tension instead of rest. When you've been lying down for hours, especially if you're only half asleep, pressure builds in the neck, lower back, shoulders, and hips. For many older adults, especially women, even slight misalignment during rest can wake the body before the mind is ready. That's why movement, gentle, purposeful movement, is not only acceptable during these early morning wake-ups, it's often exactly what the body needs to return to rest. The process begins with a simple rule. If you've been awake in bed for more than 15 to 20 minutes, especially if you feel restless, anxious, or physically uncomfortable, it's time to change your state. This doesn't mean turning on lights or launching into a full yoga session. Instead, think of it as a soft, physical reset. Start by sitting up slowly. Allow your spine to lengthen as you move. Feel your sit bones grounding you into the bed. Let your hands rest gently in your lap. Now, begin with the neck, one of the most tension-prone areas. Drop your chin toward your chest. Breathe. Then, slowly roll your head to one side, letting your ear drift toward your shoulder. Breathe again. Repeat on the other side. With each motion, you're encouraging the tight muscles to release their grip, to let go of whatever invisible weight they've been carrying. Next, bring your awareness to your shoulders. Inhale deeply and lift your shoulders toward your ears, squeezing gently. Then exhale and let them drop. Repeat this movement 2 or 3 times. You may hear a soft pop or crack, a normal release in the joints. With each shrug and release, your body receives a signal that the fight or flight mode is no longer needed. The stress can settle. The nervous system begins to downshift. If you feel safe and stable doing so, slide to the edge of the bed and place your feet on the floor. Allow your arms to hang loosely by your sides. From this seated position, hinge gently at the hips, letting your upper body fold forward slightly. Your hands may reach toward your knees, your shins, or even the floor, wherever they land comfortably. No need to strain or push. The purpose of this movement is not performance, it's release. Let gravity assist you in this stretch. As your spine elongates and your lower back decompresses, circulation improves and your breath can deepen. This simple forward fold, combined with steady, rhythmic breathing, has a profound effect on the parasympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for calming the body. It's the same mechanism that signals digestion, slows the heart rate, and prepares us for sleep. Once you return to an upright position, gently extend one leg at a time and give it a light shake, as if you were shaking off water. This may feel silly at first, but it helps discharge the subtle, buzzing tension that builds in the legs during periods of inactivity, particularly for those who experience restless leg syndrome, a common contributor to nighttime wakefulness. The goal here is not exhaustion, it's circulation. Movement invites blood flow, oxygen delivery, and relaxation. For women who often experience cold hands or feet in the night, another factor that can delay or interrupt sleep. As one more step worth trying, rub your hands together quickly, creating warmth through friction. Then, gently cup them over your feet, one at a time, holding for a few seconds. This helps to transfer heat, improve local circulation, and signal to your core that the body is ready for rest. Science supports this technique. Studies show that warming the hands and feet helps lower the body's core temperature, which is a necessary step in the process of falling asleep. These movements, taken together, can be completed in just a few minutes, but their effect is far-reaching. They help realign your body's rhythms, release muscular tension, and calm the nervous system. More importantly, they replace the feeling of helplessness that often accompanies insomnia with a sense of quiet control. You are not simply waiting for sleep to return, you are inviting it, gently and respectfully. Movement, when done with intention, becomes more than a physical exercise. It becomes a conversation between body and mind. It says, I feel what you're holding, let's let it go. So the next time you find yourself wide-eyed at 4:23 a.m., tangled in sheets and trapped in stillness, remember this. You don't need to lie there in frustration. Instead, move with care, stretch, breathe. And when you return to your pillow, your body may just follow you into sleep with gratitude. It's a familiar scene for many older women. The room is silent. The clock reads 3:58 a.m. You're lying still in the dark, but inside your mind a storm has begun. Thoughts ricochet from one worry to another. Did I forget to lock the door? What was that noise? Why did I say that to her 2 years ago? What am I going to do about that appointment next week? The night has become less about rest and more about mental unraveling. When the brain shifts into this kind of activity, no amount of effort seems to help. Telling yourself to just relax is like telling a child to sit still after eating candy. Well-intentioned, but wildly ineffective. That's because the thinking mind, once activated, searches for stimulation. It clings to memory, fear, planning, or regret, because that's what it does when left without direction. This is where sound becomes not only a helpful distraction, but a therapeutic ally. Unlike visual stimuli, which tend to engage and awaken the brain, auditory cues, when chosen carefully, can gently guide the mind away from chaos and back toward calm. This isn't about noise. It's about rhythm, pattern, and presence. Sound creates a bridge between the restless mind and the body's desire to rest. And in the still hours of the night, that bridge can be the difference between more tossing and a return to sleep. Let's begin with the most effective and least intrusive type of sound: pink noise. You've likely heard of white noise, a steady hum of sound that covers all audible frequencies at equal intensity. While white noise can be helpful for some, it often feels sharp or mechanical. Pink noise, by contrast, lowers the higher frequencies and amplifies the lower ones, creating a gentler, more soothing soundscape. It mimics the rhythm of rainfall, ocean waves, wind rustling through leaves, or distant thunder, the sounds of nature that our bodies instinctively associate with safety and calm. Scientific studies support pink noise as a sleep enhancer. A notable 2017 study from Northwestern University found that playing pink noise during sleep improved memory retention and deep sleep quality in older adults. This isn't just about falling asleep. It's about helping the brain stay in the stages of sleep that promote healing and clarity. You don't need special equipment. A small bedside speaker or even a phone set to low volume can do the job. The key is to choose a steady, non-distracting loop, something with no sharp sounds or sudden volume changes. You might find it helpful to use a sleep timer, so the sound fades after 30 or 60 minutes, just long enough to guide your return to rest. But if pink noise doesn't appeal to you, or if your mind is spinning too fast for ambient sounds alone, consider using a guided sleep meditation. These short spoken word recordings are designed to lead the listener through a simple mental exercise. A calm, steady voice invites you to breathe deeply, to scan your body from head to toe, or to visualize a peaceful place. You don't need to do anything perfectly. Just let the words occupy the space your worries once filled. Why does this work? Because your brain, when given a neutral task, stops looping through unhelpful thoughts. Instead of asking, "What's wrong?" it begins to follow the instructor's voice. Feel your toes relax, your calves, your chest. Like a gentle bedtime story, these cues are simple, rhythmic, and purposeful. They allow the brain to soften, to slow down. Many older adults find that these meditations help not only with falling back asleep, but with feeling emotionally lighter in the morning. By replacing mental clutter with intentional calm, they avoid the emotional hangover that often follows a sleepless night of worry. And if guided meditations feel too formal, or if you simply prefer a more passive experience, there's a third sound strategy worth considering: monotone audiobooks. Yes, that's right. A dry, softly narrated book can be a powerful tool. Not an exciting novel or a mystery with cliffhangers, but a gently spoken, slow-paced narration about something dull but pleasant. Think nature essays, historical lectures, or nonfiction topics delivered in a voice that neither rises nor falls too dramatically. This may sound counterintuitive, but the very lack of excitement is the secret. The voice creates just enough interest to distract your thoughts, while the low emotional engagement allows your brain to slowly disengage from the world. Over time, the words fade into background noise, and you find yourself drifting back into sleep. Choose audiobooks that are free from advertisements, sudden music, or dramatic tone shifts. Most smartphones allow you to set a sleep timer, so the audio stops playing after a set period. Keep the volume low, just audible enough to be heard, but soft enough that it blends into the quiet of the room. These audio-based strategies work not by force, but by invitation. They gently pull your focus away from anxiety without requiring effort or concentration. They offer your brain a new rhythm to follow, one that leads, step by step, back toward rest. And here's the most important part. Don't worry if the sound doesn't put you to sleep right away. Its job is not to knock you out, but to change the atmosphere of your mind. Over time, this shift becomes a habit, a healthier, more comforting way to navigate those sleepless hours. So the next time your brain decides to run a mental marathon before dawn, reach for your headphones or your bedside speaker. Let sound become your anchor, whether it's rainfall, a guided breath, or a slow voice reading about the history of moss. Yes, even moss. It may be just the lullaby your racing mind needs. While occasional wakefulness between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. is a normal part of the sleep cycle, especially in older adults, there are times when persistent or severe disturbances may point to an underlying issue that deserves attention. It's important to recognize the difference between a gentle signal from the body and a pattern that may indicate something deeper. For many women in midlife and beyond, sleep becomes more fragile due to shifts in hormone levels, changes in lifestyle, and the natural aging of the circadian rhythm. These changes alone can lead to lighter sleep, earlier wake-up times, or longer periods spent awake during the night. However, when these early awakenings become chronic, disruptive to daily life, or emotionally distressing, they may be more than just a phase. Let's begin with one of the most common and often misunderstood culprits, insomnia. Contrary to popular belief, insomnia is not just the inability to fall asleep. It can also take the form of waking too early and being unable to return to sleep. This form of insomnia, often called maintenance insomnia, can lead to fatigue, irritability, and a foggy mind throughout the day. If you find yourself awake at the same time every night for weeks on end, and your efforts to self-soothe are no longer working, it may be time to speak with a healthcare provider. Another factor to consider is sleep apnea, a condition in which breathing repeatedly stops and starts during sleep. Although often associated with snoring or daytime drowsiness, sleep apnea can also cause abrupt early morning awakenings due to drops in oxygen levels. It tends to be underdiagnosed in women, particularly those over 50, because their symptoms often present differently, more as fatigue and restlessness than loud snoring. If you often wake feeling breathless, with a dry mouth, or with a racing heart, it may be wise to seek an evaluation from a sleep specialist. For others, the issue may be tied to mental health. Early morning waking is a common symptom of depression, even when other signs are subtle. Some people may not feel overtly sad, but experience emotional numbness, a loss of interest in favorite activities, or a lingering sense of unease. Depression, insomnia, often follows a pattern You fall asleep easily enough, but wake in the early hours with a sense of dread or emptiness. If this sounds familiar, know that you're not alone and that support through therapy, medication, or structured routines can make a profound difference. It's also important to assess your medication schedule. Some drugs, including those for high blood pressure, asthma, and certain antidepressants, can interfere with sleep if taken too late in the day. If your early waking began after a new prescription or dosage change, it's worth revisiting the timing with your doctor. A small adjustment may be all that's needed to restore balance. And finally, don't overlook blood sugar fluctuations, especially for those with diabetes or prediabetes. A dip in blood sugar in the early morning hours can trigger the release of adrenaline and cortisol, stress hormones that jolt you awake. You may wake up feeling hungry, anxious, or with a subtle sense of urgency. If this happens frequently, especially alongside other signs like nighttime sweating or shakiness, a review of your evening meals and blood sugar patterns may be in order. While it's empowering to adopt calming techniques and soothing rituals, it's equally important to know when those tools are not enough. Persistent sleep disruption affects more than just mood. It impacts heart health, cognitive function, immunity, and even the risk of falls and injuries in older adults. So how do you know when to seek help? Here are a few simple indicators. You wake up between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. more than 3 times a week for more than a month. Your wakefulness is accompanied by intense anxiety, sadness, or shortness of breath. You feel exhausted during the day, unable to concentrate or engage in normal activities. You've tried multiple soothing techniques without any sustained relief. You suspect that a medical condition or medication may be contributing to the problem. If any of these apply to you, take the next step. Reach out to your primary care physician. Keep a sleep diary for a week or two before your visit. Note what time you go to bed, when you wake, and how you feel in the morning. This simple log can provide valuable insights and help your provider tailor a solution that meets your specific needs. Remember, asking for help is not a sign of weakness. It is an act of self-respect. You deserve restful sleep, and sometimes honoring that need means seeking guidance beyond home remedies. The goal of this guide has always been to empower you with tools to navigate wakefulness in healthy, calming ways. But empowerment also means knowing your limits, listening when your body speaks louder than usual, and responding with wisdom, not fear. In the quiet hours before dawn, your body may whisper, but when the message grows louder, trust yourself enough to listen and act. Waking between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. can feel like an interruption, a burden, or even a punishment. But as we've explored, it can also be a doorway, one that opens into greater awareness of your body, your emotions, and your needs as they change with age. Far from being a random annoyance, this quiet window in the early morning may be one of the most meaningful invitations your body offers. We began with a simple truth: resisting wakefulness only deepens it. Instead of fighting to force sleep, you've now learned how to work with your body's natural rhythms. By sitting up gently and calming your breath, you begin to reverse the stress signals that keep your nervous system on high alert. You've discovered how hydration, done wisely and gently, helps restore fluid balance, reduces restlessness, and supports hormonal and muscular stability. Whether it's a sip of warm lemon water or a calming cup of chamomile tea, small actions taken in those early hours can shift your night and your day. We've talked about how emotions, especially unprocessed sadness, anxiety, or quiet grief, may rise to the surface during these hours. And instead of suppressing them, you've been given tools to acknowledge, release, and soften their grip. a few scribbled lines in a bedside notebook, a whispered breath, a hand over your heart. These are not grand gestures, but they are powerful ones. When your body feels locked or tense, we've learned that movement, far from disturbing sleep, may actually guide you back to it. A gentle stretch, a shoulder roll, the warmth of your hands over your feet. These simple acts of self-kindness allow your physical form to reset, to relax, and to find its way back into rest. And when the mind races, you now know that sound can be an ally, whether through pink noise, a soothing meditation, or the soft rhythm of a monotone audiobook. Sound can become the thread that leads your thoughts out of chaos and back into calm. Together, these 5 strategies form a holistic, compassionate system, not just for falling back asleep, but for building a more peaceful relationship with your nights. They help you respond to your body with curiosity rather than frustration, and to greet your wakefulness not as failure, but as information. And in the event that your early waking persists despite your efforts, we've discussed what to look for, those red flags that suggest a deeper health concern. You've been reminded that sleep is not separate from overall well-being, and that there is no shame in seeking help when your body or mind speaks more urgently. So now, as you consider the next time you wake in the dark, pause before rushing to fix it. Instead, ask yourself, what is my body trying to show me? What is my mind trying to release? What can I offer myself in this moment? Gently, patiently, without judgment. Choose one practice from this guide, just one. Maybe tonight you'll sip warm water. Maybe tomorrow morning you'll breathe through the tightness in your shoulders. Or maybe you'll write down a single thought instead of letting it echo. These are not cures, they are companions, reliable, kind, and rooted in your body's own wisdom. And most importantly, they are yours to use, adapt, and make sacred. So tonight, and every night that follows, remember this. You are not broken because you wake. You are not alone in your restlessness. And you are never too old to learn new ways of listening to your body, your breath, and the beautiful stillness of the early morning hours. Sleep, when it comes, will not need to be chased. It will come as a visitor, gently invited. Until then, breathe, stretch, sip, listen, and trust